The founders of the center were working at a community action agency before they founded the center, and working at a federally funded community action agency, they came to realize that they were somewhat constrained in what they could work on. And so they founded the center, a private nonprofit organization, so that they could work on policy change and engage with community members and get at the systemic issues that were shaping the communities that they were working in. The center's always been very rooted and grounded in the communities that we serve. You know, our home office today is in Lyons, Nebraska, population 850 people. Our board of directors comes from small towns, farmers, ranchers, small business owners, community leaders all across the state and now in Iowa as well. Since the beginning, the center has always been very rooted in communities and guided by a grassroots board of directors that helps us figure out what are the pressing challenges that are facing communities that we're serving today that we need to be working on.
One of the reasons I got involved was my concern for losing population of farmers in rural areas. And I was interested in how can we maintain people living in the countryside in a fashion that they really enjoyed. The early on years involved getting information to farm families about the Farm Bill in Congress and what they could do to convince their legislators to change things, as well as local folks being active in such things as Initiative 300 campaign. The other thing about the center in early years was some of the research that was done. During the farm crisis of the 80s, they worked on a report on where have all the bankers gone because of the credit issues with farm families. And there were other reports like growing hog confinement facilities, who will sit up with a corporate sow, and that whole change and what it meant for farm families. Looking at some of the early history on some of the research the center did, the folks that maybe didn't agree with some of the reports actually found the reports to be really quite well done.
So very quickly at the beginning, we started with a lot of focus on agriculture, sustainability, family farm issues, but the organization quickly realized that we needed to have a broader focus than just agriculture and farming. And so we've expanded into small businesses and healthcare and education, all of the things that go into making a vibrant rural community. So the center takes a much broader perspective in our work. Another thing about the center is that it's really in our DNA as an organization to always be changing and evolving to meet the needs and challenges that communities face. And over time, as those challenges have changed, our approaches have changed, our programs have changed.
Trato de no dejar el suelo descubierto.
In earlier years, we were working with conventional family farming operations. Now, Farm and Community, for example, and Lending Services are working with immigrant families, veterans, Native Americans, women in agriculture, just a wide array of new opportunities, entrepreneurial businesses. So the context is a bit different, but the mission and work is still what we did in the past, and that is empowering people to be successful in their operations, whatever it is.
Today, the center is really focused on 3 core strategies. One of them is policy change at both the state and federal level. Another is our work with communities on community organizing and community change at the community level. And then the third area of work is our financing work. Since 1990, we've been doing small business development and small business loans, and in more recent years, we've expanded the financing work to include housing loans now, and now we're building more programs in food systems lending as well.
We really approach communities in a very holistic way, meeting them where they're at, learning what their needs are, listening to them, connecting them to the resources and funding to support it. And so We've really focused on rural community members, rural leaders, on what their needs are. And yes, we can connect their voices to policy advocacy. Yes, we can assist them with our technical assistance, with business assistance, but there's also a need for us to work at the community level to help with facilitation or convening and really hearing community needs so that we can build programs that meet the communities where they're at.
Can I have that one that you have in your hand?
Sure. At the end of the day, our goal is to help communities create a more vibrant future for themselves, and with connections to resources, plus building these communication streams across the community. It's really where I think the center shines. It's really not about what the center's doing, it's that we're empowering these communities and empowering new leaders and organizations and helping communities become more resilient, more nimble, more inclusive, so that they can be viable and vibrant for the future and will hopefully leave a greater impact on rural America.
So with our lending services, we help people achieve their dreams, whether it's starting their own business or owning their home. And we do this by providing lending services as well as the education that comes with it. Personal one-on-one business coaching or technical assistance, as well as group setting trainings. And the good thing is we're able to bring this to their place of business, a local library, a chamber, a college, anywhere that's convenient for those clients. Our target market is Latino-owned businesses, low to moderate income, women-owned businesses throughout rural Nebraska and underserved communities. And this work is so important because entrepreneurs and home ownership are really what helps our community thrive. And it is such important work for those communities to continue to thrive.
Benemex Productions presente por 8º año consecutivo.
Realmente no es fácil comenzar un negocio, comenzarlo de cero. Porque si tú tienes un capital, una herencia, puedes comenzar un negocio grande y ¡wow!, crece de una vez. Pero comenzar un negocio sin nada y un negocio pequeño es un trabajo duro. No saber qué se necesita, no saber qué hay que hacer, no saber cuáles son los caminos o las licencias o lo que marca la ley. Entonces, cuando uno comienza, necesita ese apoyo. Y yo pienso que esto es lo que el Centro Rural ha hecho muy bien.
The policy work at the center, a lot of it started with the family farm. A lot of it focused on the family farm, and that's still such a big part of what we're doing today. But we get to help the whole community now. We get to help the whole community and focus a lot on small business. I think our small business work has really grown, and that's one of the biggest differences between the center today and the center 50 years ago, and I think we're all really proud of that. Now the Farm Bill has changed so much, it's grown in size exponentially, and the number of Farm Bill programs is much greater than it was before. So we're still focusing on the family farm, we're still focusing on the Farm Bill, but there's a whole lot more to do. And I think during this time our state legislative work has really grown, not only here in Nebraska, but now that we have a policy office in Iowa and a legislative presence in Minnesota and South Dakota. These are all things that have happened over the past 50 years that we're really proud of, but it shows a lot of growth. There's a lot of people in rural communities that don't have a voice, and the center's here to help them, and I think we do a great job of following up with them and making sure their voices are heard.
So the Center of Rural Affairs helped write a bill to where we did a herd share program. And so what that was able to do was, instead of buying a quarter beef, you were able to do percents of an animal. And it made it to where the farmer didn't have to take everything to the big packing plants. It made everything more community-centered. And not just our community, but the entire state of Nebraska. And when I went and spoke at the Capitol, and this bill passed, it grew our customer relationships, it grew our farmer relationships, it grew more than just this community.
I think we have a lot of opportunity at the center. Rural communities are seeing a revitalization. Ever since the pandemic, we're seeing rural populations grow, the number of entrepreneurs in rural communities grow, and I think our job is more important now than ever. So I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for us in the next 50 years, and I think we're up to the challenge.
When I think about the center's 50th year anniversary, the first thing I think about is all the people that came before us, the staff, the board, the constituents that built the organization and how much we owe to them. But what I think about probably most is how vibrant the organization is today, how vibrant and how relevant the organization has managed to stay over 50 years. The staff is as big as it has ever been. The programs are as diverse and as engaged with communities as they've ever been. And to me, that's the heart of the matter. And that's the sign of an organization that is built to last for another 50 years as well.